Hi everybody, Ryan Horn from Ryan'sTechTips.com. So it's June, end of the school year, and we're getting a lot of questions on how do we clean out our Google Classrooms for the end of this school year, and how do we get our Google Classrooms ready for the next group of students coming in the fall? Well, in this video, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to take a look at two simple steps that's going to clean up your Google Classroom and get it ready for the fall. Let's take a look at step one. Step one, the first thing you're going to want to do is return all digital student work back to the students in Google Classroom. Just the same as you would returning any paper pencil work the students has turned in throughout the year, we're going to return any digital student work. Now, before I show you as a teacher how to return the student work, let's take a quick look at what happens to the ownership of documents when a student turns work in Google Classroom. So we're going to switch over to Student View. Now, a student has turned in a document for this assignment, and when they went to share this document, you'll notice they no longer have rights or the ability to share because the student doesn't own this document anymore. The student's in view-only mode. So the only way for the student to get ownership of this document back is for the teacher to return it to them. The student might want to share this with their parents or send it to their grandma who lives in Florida, but they're locked out now. They're in view-only. So let's take a look at how a teacher could return that. So as a teacher, I'm in teacher view now. I'm going to click on my assignments. I have one student in this sample class here. I'm going to click on Done, and that will select all of the students in your list. You'll probably have more than one. And then I'm going to press Return to return that work back to all those students. And when I press Return, that is going to give ownership back to the student. Let's refresh back in Student View. You'll notice the students have full editing rights now, and when the students go to share, they can actually share this document. So when you return the work as a teacher, you give ownership back to the students. Okay, that's the first step, return all digital student work. Second step, get your Google Classroom cleaned out. Question comes up, should you archive your Google Classroom, or should you leave your Google Classroom, unenroll all the current students from this year, put in the students for next year? Well, let's take a look. A lot of people might be saying, I want to use all of these assignments for next year. I just want to get all of my current students out, and then in the fall, add all my new students. Well, you can do that. You can go to Students and select all your students, and you can remove them. However, I would recommend doing this. Archive your class. Do not unenroll your students. If you archive your class, it's going to really force the teacher to reflect on their work, right? Rethink how their assignments went. That's the whole purpose. It's too easy as a teacher, trust me, I've been there, to reuse a Google Classroom because then we don't have to rethink our assignments, and it's too easy for us not to make any changes and just do things the same way we've done them in the past, which might not always be a bad thing. But when we archive the class, we can still repost or reuse these assignments, but I'm going to show you how it makes you rethink and reflect upon them. So again, I would recommend don't unenroll students, simply archive that class, make a new class. Here's how it would look. I'm going to go back to the Google Classroom main menu, go back to Classes, and I'm going to archive this sample class. Okay? So I'm going to go to Archive here. Now, once you click Archive, that class will disappear from your current classes. You can still access it by going to the main menu, scroll all the way down under your active classes, and go to Archive Classes. All of your archive classes are here. You'll notice they're grayed out, but if you need to bring one back from the dead, you can click on the three dots and press Restore. That brings your class back. So, if you do archive a class, now I've made a new class for the fall. Here's my 6th grade ELA for the fall. This classroom is empty. No students, no assignments are posted in the stream. However, if I go down to the plus sign in the bottom right corner, and I go to Reuse Post, I can reuse posts from any of my current classes that are open, and also look, there's my sample class that was archived. I wanted to reuse this post. And this is what I like about archiving a class. it forces you to think and reflect when you post or reuse an assignment. You might want to think, these instructions, I'm going to make this different. I want to differentiate for my class a little more, so I'm going to change the way I do things here. Or, this link I don't want, so I'm going to X out of that link, but there's a new link that I want to add. So that's a great way when you are reusing posts in your archive class to force you to rethink how you are going to do things for the next year. So thanks, everybody. That is how you clean out your classrooms in Google Classroom at the end of the year. If you have any questions, you can find me at ryanstechtips.com. Have a good day.